Once upon a time there was a young girl named Clara who lived in a small village at the edge of a vast, magical forest. One morning, Clara decided to take a walk through the forest to gather berries for a pie. As Clara ventured deeper into the woods, she noticed the trees growing thicker and taller, blocking out more and more sunlight. The forest was eerily quiet, with no birds singing or squirrels chattering. The air felt heavy, as if filled with magical energy. Clara felt a tingling sensation run down her spine as she continued down the shaded forest path. After walking for what felt like hours, Clara came upon a gurgling stream cutting through the woods. She stopped to take a drink of the crisp, clear water and rest her tired feet. As Clara bent down to splash water on her face, she noticed tiny flickering lights dancing above the stream. Clara gasped as she realized they were fairies. Clara watched, enchanted, as the fairies fluttered and twirled, playing magical games with beams of light reflected on the water's surface. "Oh, please don't stop your dancing on my account," Clara called softly to the fairies. At the sound of her voice, the fairies froze, staring at Clara in surprise before disappearing in a twinkling of light. "Wait, please come back," Clara cried after the vanished fairies. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to frighten you." But the fairies did not reappear. Clara sighed and stood up, disappointed the fairies were gone. She picked up her basket and turned back the way she came, feeling it was probably time to head home. But as Clara tried to retrace her steps, she found she kept getting turned around, with none of the paths looking familiar. The already dim forest grew darker, the massive trees blocking out any remaining sunlight. Clara started to panic, realizing she was lost with no idea how to get home before nightfall. Just as Clara felt she might start to cry, she heard a strange groaning sound, like the creaking of wood. She turned to see one of the enormous trees slowly twist its trunk so that two branches formed what looked like arms. Below a knot that looked like a gnarled face, a hollow opened up in the trunk, and a deep voice said, "You seem lost, little one." Clara's mouth fell open in shock. Are you talking to me?" she stammered. The tree gave a low chuckle. "Yes, I awoke to find you lost in my forest. I am the guardian of this wood, and I wish to help you find your way home. What is your name, child?" Clara found her voice and replied, "I'm Clara. Please, can you help me get back to my village?" "Of course, dear Clara," rumbled the tree. "Climb up into my branches, and I will lift you above the forest canopy so you can see the way." Clara clambered up into the guardian tree's branches, which shifted to create a seat and arm rests for her. Slowly, creaking and groaning, the tree stretched himself up, until Clara was peering over the entire forest from the treetop. Pointing with one long branch, the tree said, "There is your village, just on the other side of the valley." Clara turned and could see smoke rising from chimneys right at the edge of the woods. "Thank you," she cried joyfully. The tree bent his trunk to carefully lower Clara back to the ground, branches cradling her like a chair. As her feet touched the earth, Clara turned and gave the guardian tree a big hug, pressing her cheek against the rough bark. "I can never thank you enough for helping me," she said. The tree chuckled again. "I am always here to help the pure of heart who get lost in my forest," he replied. "Now hurry back to your village before night falls completely." Clara waved goodbye and turned towards home, practically running in her eagerness. The tree guardian kept watch until Clara was out of the forest, then slowly twisted himself back into a normal tree shape. But now a notch that looked like a smiling mouth stayed in the trunk as a reminder of his kindness. When Clara arrived home, her mother scolded her for staying out so late. But Clara just smiled and promised she'd be more careful on her walks in the future. After dinner, Clara took out her sketchbook and colored pencils and started drawing all of the magical things she had seen that day, making sure she got the guardian tree's face just right. From then on, Clara always looked for magic on her walks in the woods. She left little gifts like berries and flowers for the fairies, and brought books to read aloud to the old guardian tree, who told her ancient secrets of the forest. Though she stumbled, she learned to find her way. And the tree taught her that sometimes, you have to be a little lost before you can be found.